So, I don't know about you guys, but being in college at times can really feel like a huge scam. So, I started going to college at my local JC. I was about 26. So, I'm 27 now, and I'm going to be finishing up at the end of this year, hopefully, depending if I take the max amount of classes. I'm finishing up the semester right now, and I think I'm taking the max, which is like 16 units. I think it's 5 classes. And I was doing all this like while working and doing online classes. So I don't go to campus anymore, which has been a huge help, honestly. Like trying to work around a schedule and make it in time to classes is it can be like a real drain, and also it could be really stressful. And two, what I notice is like since I'm a little bit older than most of the people who are like entering junior college, like fresh out of high school, there's just a lot of, childish behaviors. And it seems like, I mean, I know it's a fact, but a lot of these people are, fresh out of high school and they're still acting like it. And as somebody who's entering college, being older and having a different mindset on, school, like I know what I'm there for. Um, I just don't really like or want to be around, a bunch of kids kind of being rude and rowdy and obnoxious and what's the other word? Disruptive. So, with that being said, I've been, taking classes and I'm doing a lot of general ed stuff right now because, of course, that's what you do when you're getting your associates. And I just keep having this thought of like, what's really the point? Like I worked in the trade, like right out of high school, I got my barber's license and I was licensed and I was working full time for like almost 10 years. I'm 27 now. I'm going to be 28 pretty soon, and that's pretty much 10 years of my life spent, working as an independent contractor with a skill set as opposed to someone with a professional or an education, working in those professional jobs. So, my experience when it comes to life is definitely a lot different. And I know a lot of people sometimes they don't get to ever really know or have that experience of, being a business owner or working for yourself and making your own schedule and just learning things on the fly. But in reality, I think that's probably like a really big blessing. So, over the years of me, being a barber and working independently, I've learned a lot about some time management, some finances. Um, like if you're in a case like me, I'm also trying to start another business, which is selling online, through wholesale distribution. So when you're doing all these different types of things, I feel like it's easier to learn the skill set and to just look things up on the internet and just start doing it. Cuz like I said, I've been doing it for a long time. So I've always kind of just, like I said, looked things up and then I just start doing it. Or I learn from other people or I join communities. And I feel like sometimes people who go to college and they don't really know anything else except for like working a part-time job and getting an education until they have a professional career. Because I mean that's the goal, right? Like having a professional career. But I feel like a lot of the people who do those things and go down that path, I feel like they don't get certain experiences like I'm talking about. Like they don't know what it's like to like work and only work. I think that's one of the biggest things that I'm pretty grateful for is this work ethic. Like lately I haven't been working, but that's just because of like some medical issues that I had going on and I couldn't really work. Like I had to have surgery. Um, but because I had surgery, I spent a lot of time at home, and in doing so, I got to learn a lot about reselling, and I got to meet a lot of cool people. Like on Twitter, we have like a big Discord, and I just talk to these people all the time. But the thing is, like, after learning about, after learning and meeting all these new people that I know now who run their own business, none of them really have a formal education either. So it kind of like puts me in this mindset now of, you know, I'm starting another business and I'm in college because I thought like the goal for me was to get into like accounting or supply chain. But now that I've been in school and meeting all these new people, it kind of just makes me really think about like kind of what's the point, you know? Like I've already been doing it. I can continue to do what I'm doing now and just really scale it up and learn from all these people that are around me. But also at the same time, I feel like, you know, going to college and getting a degree is kind of something I should do. I think I'm older now, and I think it's also oddly like I like to challenge myself. So I feel like this is a challenge for me. But like I said, it's kind of a challenge that's really pointless sometimes. At least that's how it feels. And yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm the only person who thinks this. I don't know if there's any other people who went to school late watching this, like later on in life, and had the same revelation that I'm having now, where it kind of just feels like, I don't know, kind of just feels kind of scammy. Especially taking all these general ed classes. Like, I have to learn, like, I'm in art history right now, which, like, I appreciate art, and I like going to museums, and I like stuff like that, don't get me wrong. But also at the same time, writing a paper about these things, like how is that really going to help me with an accounting job or working for, you know, a manufacturer or a distributor and having to deal with supply chain management and, you know, supplier relations and other things like that. But I know it's like a process and I understand it and, you know, I'm taking the steps and I'm following the path. But day by day, when I see other people that I know who are, you know, running their business and taking steps that I could be taking, but my time is being split up into a lot of different places, or, you know, it's just being split up with school and work like this. Um, yeah, man, I don't know. Sometimes I think about like, should I even be doing this still? And then on top of this, I haven't even got to this part, but like a lot of these classes, I know like the whole point of it is to like put you in a solution based like mindset and like to learn how to manage your time and really be good at those types of like worker skills. Now I don't really want to snitch myself out by saying this, but I use chat for a lot of things that I do. Like, I'll be so busy with other things, I forget that I have homework, and I think that's one of my biggest downfalls right now that I notice. My time is spent focusing and doing a lot of different things, and when I sit down and I look at my like student portal, I realize I have all these assignments that I have to do. So honestly, I kind of just chat GPT a lot of things, and also when I do those things, it really makes me think like I'm paying for quote unquote an education, but I'm over here just using AI to like do all the work for me, which I guess is fine when it comes to these like really smaller or not small, but like these like really general ed classes. But I can't just help think to myself, how many other people are doing this? And I know for a fact that there's a lot of people. Like my first semester I went to college, uh, I was like in person, so I got to like be around a lot of these people, which is why I can tell you that it sucks. But the point I'm trying to make is all these people that I met in class in person, they were all doing the same exact thing. Like they were all using chat, they were all using AI, and nobody's like really learning anything. And I think that's what frustrates me the most is I'm doing things on my own time and growing these businesses that I'm doing, and I'm actually learning skills. And I'm actually talking to people who are able to mentor me, and I'm also being able to mentor newer people who come into the space that I'm in. And I know they say that if you can teach somebody a skill set or if you can teach somebody something, that just means that you really know it. So I feel like I learn a lot more just by doing what I'm doing. And like I said, I just keep going back to this thought of like, what's the point? What am I doing? And it's really frustrating sometimes. But like, part of it is because I want to do this, and the other part is I want to make like my family proud. And I know you shouldn't do everything based on what your family tells you to. But like I said, I'm a little bit older, so my mindset about these things are different. I feel like, being self employed is really fun at times, but it can also be really frustrating. And that's one of the biggest things that I came to the conclusion of is like being self employed is cool, but it's not cool when you can't take time off. And it's not cool when like, I can't just turn it off. Especially being a barber, like, everybody is hitting you up, and like, all my clients were buddies from high school, and I've known them my whole entire life. So it's really hard to tell these people no sometimes, and I really do justify it. Like, for example, like, if you're my best friend from high school and you ask me to work overtime, I'm probably not going to charge you extra because I'll justify it by saying, like, oh, I'm just hanging out with my friend, I'm cutting his hair, and I'm also making money. So it's kind of like a win win win. But that just kind of goes down a deep, dark rabbit hole of like spending all of your time and giving all of your time and energy to people who, at the end of the day, it's kind of a transactional relationship. And I know these people care about you, and I know that they're your friends. But to be quite honest with you guys, man, I know so many people that I went to high school with, and after high school, I've never talked to them ever again. And the only reason that these people talk to me and hang out with me or, hit me up is because I'm cutting their hair still. And like I said, I took some time off because I had to have surgery. And within that time, there's only been like 5 people like that have hit me up. And most of the time, they don't even ask how I'm doing. They just ask when I'm going to go back to work so I can give them haircuts. Um, so yeah, I don't know. What's your guys' opinion on college?